Welcome to the porch. I just thought I'd let that go on too long. All right, guys, the porch is live. The porch is live. Welcome to the Sports Porch. I need to put that up on the ticker there now. I always forget to do that for whatever reason. The porch is live.
Porch is live.
I don't have my porcheslive.com one up there now.
Porch
here it is, porcheslive.com.
There it is.
The Sports Porch. Here we are. Thanks for listening to us on American Busker, iHeartRadio, American iHeartRadio, 150 million subscribers, 2,000 devices, 150 platforms. We are so happy to be here. Thank you, Nancy Hahn, for getting us on American Busker, iHeartRadio. And we already have a comment from one of our fans. Michael from Charleroi is in the house.
Charleroi.
So a couple things here. Make sure you visit theporcheslive.com. It's down there on the bottom of the ticker. That is our website. You can listen to all of our podcasts. You can read all of our columns. We're growing the site. Subscribe to our email list. We're not going to spam you. We don't share your email. You'll just get an update whenever we put out a new column. Or you can also look at the Sports Porch shop on there right now if you want to buy a T-shirt. We'll be adding more merch later and all that. But we got a huge show tonight because football is back, guys. Football is back.
We're ready to roll.
The preseason is over. It's time for the real stuff.
Absolutely. And we're going to start right off right now with my column on the porcheslive.com. I'm just trying to get my bearings here, guys. I'm sorry. So did we learn anything new from the Steelers' last preseason game? And this is going to be kind of a group effort. I waited. You know, a lot of people like to see these columns right after the game. That's when we get the most traffic. But I had to think about this. So in a word, no.
Agreed.
In a word,
I think no is all you have to say.
That's right. That's right. So my 5 takeaways. The Steelers will live or die with the offensive line. And I think we all agree on that.
And which one of those do you think they will, live or die?
I got a feeling they're going to die.
Yeah, I think it's a death.
Yeah.
No, they're going to live. They're going to live, but it'll be a slow death.
A slow death.
Right,
oh,
right.
That sounds bad.
Yeah,
right.
It will be the worst kind of death.
So we're all in agreement on that then.
Well, I mean, the thing about the offensive line is like everybody's been saying, why didn't they draft better linemen? And the reality is they were never going to draft better linemen. They thought that in the season, in the preseason, that they could actually go and buy linemen, and they did. They got Daniels, they got Mason Cole, and they kept their 2 best linemen that they thought, Chooks. And, the guy on the left end who I don't even want to talk about him because his name just infuriates me.
Right.
And the reality is they failed in that endeavor.
Yeah.
As it turns out, Daniels is not very good. Mason Cole was okay, but he's not the baller that everybody thought, he could get out there and fire up the line and get them all together. And they're a mess because of it. And that's the problem, I think, with the offensive line in a nutshell. And there's nothing you can do. Now, of course, they'll be looking at the waiver wire in the next couple of days, who gets cut, who might be a casualty that they can pick up. But that's just dumpster diving.
And DG's in the house. Greetings, gentlemen, from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. What's up, DG? Daniel, we're going to get to this. Daniel Rupert says, still going with Pickett, going to be a really great NFL quarterback. And Paul Pomato from Palmetto. Back in the house.
10.
Let's get to it. All right, and we are. So Schwaber, you had something to say?
Yeah, my thought, and it was really something that I hadn't thought about until I was driving over to the porch today. But I really thought about it, and I think some of this actually kind of comes back to what I kind of see as somewhat of a failure. The Steelers with this really slow approach to the offseason and naming a general manager.
Right.
Because I feel like they didn't do a great job in free agency. And they waited until after free agency and the draft until they hired Omar Khan. And, so in a sense, like Omar Khan's really just sort of starting with what, Kevin Colbert left him. And, it's not fair to him to say that he didn't do a good job.
Right.
I mean, I think this is Kevin Colbert who didn't do a good job. I kind of feel like, now, don't get me wrong, I'm okay with the Kenny Pickett pick in the first round. But it also kind of says to me, like, is this Kevin Colbert saying, I want to go out with a bang? Like, I want to be the guy that they all say was responsible for the next great Steelers quarterback pick.
Right.
And it just didn't really, invest in the core to me, which is the lines.
And we were talking about this pre-show. I think that the selection of the fourth round, the quarterback, how do you say his name? Alakadun or whatever he was. Yeah, whatever. To me, that was a wasted pick. Absolutely wasted. I don't care if he's on the practice squad or not. And I'm not making
They cut him.
They cut him totally. So, and I'm not making a statement about his abilities. I'm just saying you did not need to pick that guy. You could have taken a flyer on a great big 380-pound offensive lineman, good or bad, and had a little bit more depth back there. And I consider it. And look, I get it. Ben Roethlisberger is retiring. You need a quarterback. You got Mitch Trubisky. Like I say later on in the column, everybody knows I'm a Pickett groupie. But there is having a lot of excitement for that guy. And then there's reality. And the reality is they went out and got the guy that they figured would be the replacement for now without knowing that Kenny Pickett would ever be available.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So you go into it, bringing this guy in. The very first thing you should think about is, okay, how do we surround him with the players he needs to be successful? Offensive line. We got to shore up that line. I feel like they didn't think they had it solved. Like Steve says, they thought they had it solved. I just think they just didn't do, and I know how much research goes into scouting. It's not that nobody worked at it, but I just don't think they did their job. I don't think they did their job on the offensive line, and I am not looking forward to watching this year because it's got anything can happen and they can gel or what have you, but it's got a huge potential of being a tremendous train wreck.
Well, I mean, it's just like last year, so we'll see how it plays out. That's all you can do at this point, and let's see what kind of dumpster diving they do. Maybe they pick up somebody who is a little bit better than Kendrick Green or Dan Moore Jr.
Yeah, well, I've put on some pounds. I'm willing to step in at this point.
You could step in.
Maybe that should be on
I
off the
don't
grid.
think you have the fire.
How much money for you?
Somehow, I think when you go into that 3-point stance and you got somebody over you that's 325 and monstrous, I don't think you're going to stay
Listen,
there.
you put a chocolate milkshake underneath his legs, and I'm taking him out. All right, I'm taking him out. DG says, Chris, it brings me no great joy to agree with every one of your game's assessment. It's highlighted points. While Pickett is capable of starting, I do think it's best to let Trubisky run for his life in the beginning in the hopes the O-line improves. Thank you, DG. Finally, somebody agrees with me. Finally. All right, let's move on to number 2 here. The defense is fragile at best. So one thing I want to point out, you see that little I'm going to point over there, that little yellow bar at the side there. If you click that, you can leave us a voicemail message on our podcast at any time, and we'll get you into the show. So go to theporcheslive.com. That little yellow bar, it says say something. Leave us a voice message. Tell us your thoughts.
You should change that to do not click. I bet we'd get more.
Yeah. Or maybe make it so that like you can actually see
You're a genius.
Maybe make it so you can see it. Like,
they don't give me – that's the option that I have.
You went with white lettering on a mustard brown background.
Well, it's Steelers colors. You know, I'll tell you what. If you don't like it, maybe next time you should do it.
Let's talk about the defense.
Yeah,
I think fragile is too harsh of a word for this defense. I think the defense has holes that they can't fill. Let's start with Devin Bush. That is a hole so big you can't even fill it. Like, the only way you can fill it is by cutting the man. That's the best way to get rid of that hole. But they're not going to do that. So the deal was to bring in Kazi in as the dime back, and now he's injured and probably out for the year. So the guy that you wanted to replace, the guy you wanted to cut, Now you have to put on IR, and that's what makes the defense fragile. I think they'll do well against teams who can't figure them out. But teams that can figure this team out will just torch them for long bombs and short passes over the middle that'll go for 15 yards. They'll run a draw play, and they'll get 25 yards on 3rd and 17.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they're going to do to beat us.
Right.
And good teams will figure us out, and that's my concern about the defense. They are the number one spent defense as far as salary goes. So they have to be a top 5 defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
And if they're not, it'll be because of these gaping holes that they have.
That's a lot. That's a lot of pressure. They are the top paid, the highest paid defense. My point was more that if TJ Watt is not in the lineup, this defense immediately becomes less than mediocre. That's just, and the way I said it was, how did you feel when TJ Watt went down with an injury? You feel like it's all over. You feel like it's all over. Mm-hmm. And we can get into, and I'm sure there've been debate after debate after debate all day long, all last night. Why was he even playing? I mean, other teams don't start their starters at all.
More and more don't start them now.
Right.
Or they just play for one series.
And why he was playing is beyond me. Why Hayward was in the game all the way to the end of the first half was beyond me. But you know what? I'm not an NFL coach, and I don't even pretend to be one or play one. So I'm not going to question it too much. It just, to me, and we'll get into Harris later on. So do you agree or disagree on the defensive side, Schwab, on point 2 here?
I agree. I mean, I just think that it's, they're important pieces. Well, or more so, they're playmakers, right? Minka, Watt, and Cam.
Right.
Those guys are so important to be out there, hopefully playing 3 downs, that when they're not there, the holes are pretty big to cover up.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yep.
They're 3 great players, but
you need more.
There's not like you'd almost be better having a defense that had, the whole defense was like a B+ instead of like 3 guys being an A+, and then everybody else being a C.
Well, and I think that's why you're seeing these big plays, because teams figure it out, and then they exploit that, and then there's nothing you can do to stop it. Like at that point, you're like, oh, they figured us out. What can we do to stop it?
Yeah, and Yo Carey's in the house. What's up, Yo? He chimes in. Tomlin and Pittsburgh keep too much loyalty to guys. They're too loyal, I guess, is what he's trying to say. If the guy is a bum, cut them. And I can only imagine he's talking about Bush. I hate saying that a guy's a bum, because you're what we mean is he's a bum on the field. It doesn't mean he's a bum in real life. I just
could be both.
We only care about the field.
I mean, I'm pretty much a bum in real life. So
no
okay.
here.
I knew I wasn't going to get an argument there. I'm telling you. All right. So number 3, Mitch Trubisky is the starting quarterback. Now, nothing's been announced yet. And like I say, everyone on the porch knows I'm a Pickett groupie. I actually believe he did show enough in preseason to be the starting quarterback of this team, but in this case, not yet. I would label their performance a tie if you go statistically. And that offensive line, I'm going to give the edge to Trubisky, not because let's put him in there and let him get crushed. It's more because let's put him in there because he has more experience evading past the pass rush in the NFL. So I think when the heat really gets put on him, he's got a better chance right now of making something happen down the field. That's something that Kenny Pickett, I think, already knows how to do, but the game, he still has to catch up to the speed of the game. Am I making sense to you guys?
Yeah, you are. The one thing I think you had wrong was actually Pickett, for a quarterback rating, performed better than Trubisky.
Yeah.
But the reality is Trubisky was usually playing against number 1 talent, and Pickett was playing against 3 or worse.
That's why I said label it a tie.
So yeah, you can call it a tie. I actually think they both performed well. Look, this was never a competition. They went and got Trubisky, and that's who's going to start. He has proven that he can run this team. Yeah. He's a good quarterback. He's not a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's no Ben Roethlisberger, but neither is Kenny Pickett. and I'll take the more experienced guy over the rookie on a team that still shows maybe they can do something. Okay. Once this team falls apart and can't do anything, I'll be the first one saying, just put Pickett in there. At this point, it doesn't really matter.
I'm going to hold you to that.
You might as well move to the future when the time comes. But I'll caveat that with, unless Trubisky is thrown for 300 yards and the defense is just that terrible. I don't think it's going to be that way, but it might be.
Well, the strength of their team is the wide receivers. So if the line can get better game by game, and at least be serviceable, they could put some points up.
They could. I agree with that. Yeah. And it looks like Trubisky does want to throw it deep. He threw it deep several times and was pretty good at it.
I mean, Trubisky is a guy who took a terrible Chicago Bears team to the playoffs twice, and once with a 12-4 record.
And Yo Carey's going to chime in and say, Turd Biscuit only pushed them down the field for Boswell to get 3. We will need touchdowns.
Yeah,
I agree.
Well, a lot of the reason they got 3 was because they started 3rd and 7 and then ended up on the 27 because of holding penalties.
Right.
So I don't know that Turd Biscuit can do anything about the holding penalties other than cut everybody on offensive line. And I think he wants an offensive line in front of him. Yeah. I know if I was an NFL quarterback, I would want at least big bodies in front of me, even if they can't.
Well, that's all he's got right now. All right, Najee Harris will carry the load again. And, of course, since I wrote this, some news broke that Najee Harris has actually been suffering from a Liz Frank injury. And
type of Liz
whatever. Look, I'm telling you right now, I can't believe
it's not a true Liz Frank injury, because if it was, he would not be playing.
I get it, but I can't believe that they put him in the game yesterday. That's just me. But that being said, he is a stud at running back. But with that line, it looks like we're going to see the same Najee that we did last year, which is dragging defenders for 3 yards or 4 yards. There was one play in the game yesterday where he went through a hole and he got 6-7 yards back in the backfield. And that's the Najee that we want to see, but it all falls on the offensive line. So nothing new there, guys.
Yeah, and on that play, actually, it was another holding penalty, and it would have been a 12-yard run. Was minus 10-yard penalty. So, I mean, that's the problem. And actually, I was at the game yesterday, news break, and I don't think Najee looked like he was running the ball with great speed.
No, he didn't.
He didn't look like he was cutting well. The one thing I did notice was many times, like, I could see him go like this to the sidelines, and it wasn't called pumping the brakes, as Mark likes to do. It was actually, no, I'm good. I want to stay in.
Right.
So I think the reason he was in the game is he wanted to get into more game shape. He wanted to feel those hits.
Right.
He didn't want to have to wait for the first week, which is 2 weeks from now, to do that. And let's face it, if it was a Liz Frank injury, a true Liz Frank injury, that's what took down Travis Etienne last year for the whole season. So my guess is it's a type of injury, and I looked it up. I'm not a doctor. I just play one because my brother's not here. But it's actually an injury on the top of the foot that can sometimes be a broken bone, sometimes some kind of torn cartilage. My guess is he probably got stepped on, and that got damaged. Not to the point where it's a Liz Frank injury, but to the point where it kind of presents itself as that type of injury. Because if it was, he couldn't walk and he wouldn't be able to play, no matter what kind of study.
All I can say is this is the first time that I've heard Liz Frank, and it's good news.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think Steve actually plays a really good doctor.
Sure does.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, last takeaway here is, for me anyway, this season will be very similar to last year. Are there bright spots? Sure. We talked about the wide receivers being the strength. They do have a couple young quarterbacks looking to make their mark, who look to play well. Their defense could be pretty good, but it takes a little while to move on from a Hall of Fame caliber person, especially at the quarterback position. And when you have that offensive line issue and everything else, I just don't see my bet. And we're going to get to predictions later in the show. Our predictions for the NFC,
for the
AFC.
Steelers, that's next week.
Not directly for the Steelers, right? But I still see them, best case, probably staring at last year's record, best case, and we can get into that.
Do you think it's going to be the end of the streak of winning seasons?
Well, if there was a season to pick, it would be this one.
Could be.
It wasn't last season. If it's the same season, then the answer to that is no.
8-8-1.
8-8-1 again. Who we going to tie?
All right. And here we go.
The
we
Jets.
we already said we're going to
Jets.
wait for our predictions for next year, but we just can't help ourselves.
Well, you said, a record. So I'm not
That's true.
I'm not going to
That's
go
true.
on the record till next week.
I opened the door.
Fair
All
enough.
right. Well, what we are going to go on the record with right now is our predictions for the AFC and NFC this year.
11-6. Wow.
And,
I don't see that in our wildest dreams.
Thanks for being here, Brad. Bring that prediction back next week when we go Steelers
Brad, I
directly.
think you may get to see the only win in the first half of the season when they play the Jets at home.
So the next part of our show here, we are going to move on, and this is going to be, I'm just going to call it predictions, NFC, AFC, Super Bowl.
Who are your playoff teams?
That's right. Who are your playoff teams? So let's start with the way we're going to do this, guys, is I will name the division NFC North.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me who your winner is.
Okay.
Okay. We don't need to know the record. We don't
Right.
care. You just tell me who your winner is. And for posterity's sake, you guys hang on to your notes.
Okay.
Okay. Because
All right.
we'll relive this.
Okay.
Well, are you pulling them up now? Is that what you keep them on your phone like an engineer?
Just relax.
Let's go.
Hey, I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. NFC North, Schwaber.
NFC North.
That's the Bears, the Packers, the Lions, and the Vikings.
Thank you.
Cardinals.
No way! No, wrong.
No, I got the Packers.
Of course you have the Packers. Everybody has the Packers. So do I.
And so do I. NFC South.
This is the Panthers, the Falcons, the Saints, and the Buccaneers.
The Bucks.
I think this is the worst division in football this year, by the
Pretty
way.
bad. Yeah.
That's the only
Could be.
reason I'm taking
Could be.
the Buccaneers.
All right. I have the Bucks as well. So far, it's pretty easy. NFC East.
NFC East. This is your Philadelphia Eagles, your Washington Commanders,
Redskins.
New York Giants,
So
and
insensitive.
Dallas Cowboys. This should be very interesting.
I got Eagles.
Of course you do. You have to.
Go ahead, Steve.
The boys.
I got the Eagles.
I think those are the teams that are going to be
Well,
fighting
see,
it
for
out.
me, it's who do I hate more? I know the Commanders are not going to win. I know the Giants are not going to win. It's going to come down to those two teams. I'm a Redskins fan. I hate the Cowboys. I do hate the Eagles, but I'll take the Eagles.
I actually hate the Cowboys more than I hate the Eagles.
I hate the Cowboys.
Notice I didn't even factor in the skill level of the team. I'm picking
Well,
the Eagles.
the next division you're going to go by color.
That's right. NFC West.
This is the 49ers, the Cardinals, the Rams, and the Seahawks.
Got the
It's
Rams.
got to be the Rams. They're
Got the
still good.
Rams.
They're
Yep.
still good.
Yeah, they're the best team in that
Yeah.
division. Easy. Okay, so in the NFC, the North, we all have the Packers. The South, we all have the Bucks. The East, Schwaber and I have the Eagles. Steve has the Cowboys.
The
And in the
boys.
West, we all have the Rams. Wow.
That's not surprising.
It's not surprising, but I mean,
who
there's
are
like,
you going to take?
Yeah.
The Packers, the Bears, the Lions, and the Vikings.
Right.
They're like that division is equally bad. Now the Rams, the 49ers, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks. If you went with the 49ers, I probably wouldn't go crazy over you. But
yeah.
I mean, the 49ers have a new quarterback.
Chomberly
though, I
says
guess-
go Vikes.
Yeah. Trombley saying the Vikings. Hey, listen,
Hey,
I'm a
give me the
huge
Vikes.
Kirk Cousins fan. I was super pissed off when the Redskins dumped him. Thought it was the worst move they made in a long time. And yeah, I say go Vikings, but I think the Packers have the edge. All right, let's move on to the AFC. AFC North.
AFC North. You know who it is, right, Mark?
Bengals.
No. Ravens, Steelers, Browns, and Bengals.
All right, who are you picking, Schwaber?
Bengals.
No, it's definitely Baltimore, 100%.
Okay, Bengals.
Never
All
going
right.
to happen, boys.
All right, all right.
Never going to happen.
all
There's
right, all
no way
right.
Cincinnati is
Yeah.
winning the AFC North.
Yep. Now, Yo Carey chimes in since we're talking about the North. Boswell with the money leg will keep Tomlin safe at 8-8-1.
Yeah.
Bird ball in the house with this O-line, lack of depth, middle of the pack. So it's only fitting. We're going to do our actual.
Birdball actually has a Pirates hat on. We got to have
Yeah.
a conversation with him about the Pirates at some other time.
You can have that conversation, Steve.
Okay.
Next week, we're going to do our direct Steelers predictions, maybe game by game. Maybe we'll do it
Game
that
by
way.
game.
So AFC North, Bengals, Ravens, AFC
Why do
South.
you like the Bengals so much? I have to know.
Because we like pissing you off. So
It works.
AFC South.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow's
and,
the man.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
And Nixon are.
I mean, come on.
Probably your best running back, receiver, and quarterback in the division.
Yep.
Yeah, but you take them out and they have no defense. What are you going to do then?
Yeah.
Decent defense.
Yeah, their defense will be all right.
It's pretty good.
They'll be just fine, Steve.
We'll
Could
see.
you tell us who's in the AFC South,
AFC
please?
South, the Texans, the Titans, the Colts, and the Jaguars.
Schwaber?
I have the Colts.
Gotta
No
be the
way.
Colts.
The
I agree.
reemergence of Matty Ice.
I agree with you. I like the Colts.
I got the Titans. I got the Titans.
Why do you like the Titans so much?
Remember
Is it their
the
blue
Titans.
uniforms?
Because I like Mike Vrabel.
Hey, Vrabel's a good coach.
That's
Vrabel.
exactly
I
right.
agree.
Yeah.
And they've been there.
And
and they've done
Henry
that.
is going to be healthy if you told me those reasons.
Although I will.
And here's the problem: they still have Tannehill. Tannehill's no better than Turd Biscuit.
And I'll tell
See,
you.
we've adopted
I will
that.
tell you what. The other rookie quarterback who had a really big preseason, Malik Willis.
Yeah, but they're
was looking strong.
not even talking about.
Well,
starting.
but if you get off to like a 3-4 start,
if they get off the 3-4 start, they're not winning the division.
And that doesn't help my case. Okay. AFC East.
Oh my, this is an easy one.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Got to be the Jets, Bills, Dolphins, or Patriots.
Bills.
You know it's going to
Bills.
be
Bills.
Is anybody going to run at them? You think the Dolphins or the Patriots might make a run at them?
If any team has a chance, I believe the Patriots do, just on the pedigree of their coaching, period. The
I don't see
Dolphins
it.
have an outside chance. They have Tyreek Hill. This is Tua's year to throw the ball for real, but probably not.
Tua's going to have
Probably
to be
not.
really good. He
Yeah.
didn't show me
Yeah.
anything last year that was working.
And the
But
Jets,
he was a pretty good starter for them last year. He was like, what?
It's okay.
the
He was
Jets,
like 5-3 or something like that as a starter.
I don't know.
Zach Wilson on the Jets is too busy delivering casseroles to his teammate's mother's house. All righty,
Oh, he is
AFC West.
AFC West, the Vegas Raiders, Broncos, Chiefs, and Chargers. This is by far the hardest one
It
of
is.
them all. Like, not only who's going to win the division, but
You want to?
can all four teams make the playoffs?
Yeah. You want to start off with your bromance?
Go ahead. We know.
No, I picked the Chiefs.
Okay, Chiefs.
I didn't really pick a team.
Well, you have to.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Chargers. I think the Chargers can overtake the
He's
Chiefs.
falling for the bromance.
No, here's
He's
why.
falling for the bromance.
I think the Chiefs without Tyreek Hill are a problem this year, which means they're going to have to rely on the run, and they don't really do anything to their
No.
run game. I mean, they got Juju.
Juju's
a good receiver, but he's not like the receivers they had. So unless
Right.
Kelsey can catch for 1,200 yards, which is never going to happen, I just don't see them out-dueling the Chargers.
This is
With
the year that
Eckler,
I get what you're saying, but this is the year that Patrick Mahomes proves that he made the receivers didn't make him.
Yeah, I think you're wrong with that. I think what makes Mahomes great is his ability to dodge the rush and then run the ball and then be able to throw it down the field when he needs to. But he's got to have a guy that can go deep to be able to throw it. I just don't know who that person's going to be.
We'll find out. So you guys, I got Chiefs. You guys got Chargers. Who do you have, Schwaber? Did you say
Chiefs.
your
They're the
Chiefs?
Chiefs.
Chiefs, Chargers. Okay.
I do have the Chiefs making the playoffs.
All right. So for the AFC in the North, Schwaber and I have the Bengals. Steve has the Ravens. In the South, you guys have the Colts. I have the Titans. In the East, we all pick the Bills. In the West, 2 Chargers, me and Schwaber.
Nope.
Or
Chiefs.
2 Chiefs, me and Schwaber. There's my bromance coming back.
Mhm.
And Steve with the Chargers. So, NFC Championship game.
Wait, I thought we picked the 3 wild card teams.
Oh, you want to do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
go
yeah.
with the 3 wild
I
cards.
didn't do that.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I'll make it up as we
Okay,
go
we'll do
along. All right.
Okay.
You take the AFC, I'll take the NFC.
Okay.
And then you can do them both.
Well, yeah, we can do them both. Yeah. So for the NFC, I went with the 49ers,
Yes.
Cardinals,
No.
and the Cowboys.
Okay.
So I went with the Eagles
Mhm.
and the 49ers, but I actually think the Vikings. I like the
Yeah.
Vikings. I think the Vikings will sneak in that. They're my surprise team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
I would
my surprise team
I would go with the Cowboys, the Niners, and the Vikings.
Okay. Okay.
That's what I would do.
I like
AFC.
the Panthers, by the way. I think the Panthers are good,
Nah.
but I don't because they play in such a crappy division. I don't know if the Panthers or the Saints are going to be that second team. I think they're going to beat each other up, so that's why I didn't pick either of those teams.
Okay, so for AFC, I've got in the wild card the Ravens, the Titans, and the Chargers.
Well, I have the Chiefs, the Bengals. Actually, I have the Broncos. I think the Broncos. I like the Broncos. I like them.
You're thinking big year for Cortland Sutton?
No, not necessarily.
Could be.
But I mean, they
Russell Wilson.
That's what they did. They played the mold of what the Rams did, right? They went out and got a big quarterback. They think the rest of their team is good enough to be able to make an impact. They got Javonte Williams, who's a nice young running back, and they still have what's his name left over from the San Diego years.
Melvin Gordon,
right? So he's still there. They signed him to 1 year. I don't know. I just like the mix of that team. And they do have a couple. They got Judy still, too. Judy and Sutton. I mean, so it's not just about Cortland Sutton. Yeah. Judy's just as good, in my opinion.
So for the AFC, I have the Chargers, the Colts, and the Ravens.
All right.
That's the wild card. So NFC Championship game. Schwaber.
Ooh, you're not going to like this.
I got Packers versus the Bucs.
No,
I'm
too
sorry.
easy.
I'm sorry, but that's all I could come up with.
So I actually do have the Buccaneers in there just because I think they're going to have such an easy time in the regular season. They might even be the highest ranked team just because they're playing against such crappy teams.
This might be the year Tom Brady gets hurt because you didn't predict it.
Well, maybe. And I'm not predicting an injury. I'm not predicting
he refuses.
I'm still predicting a divorce, though.
I think that's what's going on right now, actually.
Cowboys. I got the Cowboys against the Buccaneers.
Oh,
Cowboys, Bucks?
I know that's not a trendy pick, but trust me, I think this Cowboys team is going to get it together.
All right. I have the Packers and the Rams.
The Rams? I thought about the Rams.
Packers and the Rams.
I don't know.
AFC Championship game.
I have the Bills playing the Colts.
Oh, the Colts. I like that.
That's out there, Schwaber.
Trendy pick. I like it. I think the Bills will make it also, but they'll be playing against the Chargers.
And that's exactly my bromance comes alive. Chargers, Bills.
Woo-hoo.
Now, last year I did pick the Chargers to make the Super Bowl. So, and the Super Bowl this year will be.
It will be Tom Brady and the Buccaneers against those upstart Indianapolis Colts.
You're picking Matt Ryan
and the winner
to the
and the
winner.
Whoa,
whoa.
Not yet.
Nope, Steve.
Okay,
Steve.
Actually,
NFL championship game.
I got the Bills. I got the Bills beating the Chargers in a barn burner, playing the Cowboys.
Bills playing the Cowboys. I have the Rams and the Bills. Your winner is.
Well, we do know one thing about Tom Brady. He not only wins Super Bowls, he loses them. Matt Ryan, he has his day. The Colts win.
New Matt Stafford. Is that
let me tell you something. I actually
it's not a bad
love that pick.
Not a bad pick.
I love that pick. That is a dangerous pick, but it's something. Matt Ryan is an experienced quarterback. And Frank Reich is a great coach.
I like,
and he's got a running back. Yeah, I like that pick.
I like the Bills' redemption against the Cowboys. They beat them by a field goal, last second field goal,
boy.
right down the middle.
Tell
You're going back to
Buffalo,
92.
congratulations.
Tell me it's not 45 yards.
Yes, double going.
And I
and
I like the Rams and the Bills to repeat, or the Rams to repeat. Going into the Super Bowl, Rams, Bills, with the Bills winning. I do have a little bit of a man crush on Josh Allen.
Yeah,
too.
I don't. I know it's a trendy pick with the Bills. They're the favorites by Vegas standards, but I don't know. I just think they did enough in the offseason. They went and got a defensive end. They got what's his face from the Rams to
Von Miller.
Von Miller. I just think
the
that's
Bills
enough.
got Von Miller.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
I really like the Bills' offense. I'm not so sure. I feel like their defense is staunch enough.
Well, that's why I like it because I think they went to get Von Miller. That was their problem. They could stop the run, but they couldn't stop the pass because they couldn't get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
So I think that makes them two-dimensional now. I think that's where I'm going.
All right.
Yeah.
Picking the worst teams.
Yo
All right,
Carey
Yo
says,
Carey.
how about picking the worst
Easy.
teams? Atlanta or Jacksonville, maybe the Giants. Yeah, let's throw that in there real quick.
The
In
worst
the
team?
NFC,
Let's humor everybody.
in
Yeah.
the NFC, it's definitely going to be Atlanta. The Falcons are going to be terrible. And in the AFC, I think it's got to be the Texans. The Texans are maybe going to win 2 games. They're pitiful.
I'm going to go with in the NFC, the Chicago Bears.
Good
Could
pick.
be. Yeah.
And,
Sorry, Chi-Town.
And in the AFC, I'm going to go with the New York Jets.
I almost went Jets.
Yep,
I almost
yep.
went Jets.
I'm definitely going Jets in the AFC. It's possible they don't win a game. It's just a mess up there. It's possible. And in the NFC, I'm going to go with the Commanders. I think that team is so horribly run.
Is it the uniforms? Is that what's doing it?
It's the uniforms.
Yeah.
It's the name. It's the lack of any cohesiveness on defense. And we all know that Carson Wentz is a curse.
And the running back just got
You're
shot.
right about that.
And once again, I mean,
you're right about the
why is it that our players always get shot?
Right.
I mean,
well, because
terrible.
they're in Washington, D.C.
there you go.
the
Speedy
murder
there you go.
capital of the world.
There you
recovery.
go. Thanks for that, Yo Carey. I really appreciate you bringing up that subject.
Good ad.
All right, so our predictions are in. What are your predictions? Please go to theporcheslive.com, sign up for our email updates, say something on the side, leave us a message, get involved. And we all want to thank you for listening to us on American Busker iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio, 150 million subscribers, 2,000 devices, 150 different platforms. Could not be more grateful for that. And catch our podcasts anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can listen to it on iHeart, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. The podcast drops either later tonight or tomorrow if you want to catch up. And just tune in. Tune in. All right. Moving on to parts of the show that we love, where we like to have a lot of fun.
Because we're not having any fun right now.
That's
No.
right. We are getting rid of Schwab or Downer of the Week because Schwab thought it was just too depressing.
I didn't want to depress people.
So our next portion of the show is something called Headlines That Mean Something. We scour the internet and look for this stuff. Headlines that mean something. This week we're going to start with Mark's headline. Mark.
This was done special for Steve DeFletch.
Oh, thank you.
Texas University offers course on Taylor Swift.
Hey, news break. New album coming out.
Okay. When's it dropping?
October 21st, baby. Let's go.
Okay. Let's camp out.
You don't have to do that anymore.
No, you
Mark.
don't.
That's
No, you
a-
don't.
Mark's going back to school for a degree in Taylor
So
Swift.
I didn't think it was. I didn't think it.
Texas. Wow.
No, I didn't really think it was funny or anything. But
Sure you did.
what I found kind of funny about it was just some of the stuff that was said in the article.
How
Okay.
to be a Swiftie.
Okay. So this is University of Texas at Austin. Okay. This is in their liberal arts honors program. Okay. Taught by
I
Professor
didn't know they had
Elizabeth.
liberals in Texas.
Yeah. Professor Elizabeth
hide.
Scala.
In Austin.
So
They're
this
sellers.
is what they said. Students will look at literary traditions and forms through a completely distinct contemporary lens. They will compare Swift's work to Shakespeare, Frost, and Keats.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Professor Scala will show how Swift draws on richer literary traditions, such as how she uses reference, metaphors, and clever manipulations of words. And just in case you thought it ended here, that's not the case. Texas State University plans to launch in 2023 a class on Harry Styles.
Her former boyfriend. Now it all makes sense.
I can't. All right. Moving on to the next headline that means something.
Is it Shakespeare
Well,
or Taylor Swift?
I don't know.
You know, when she
I
wrote
don't
The
know.
Best Day when she was 13, I don't think she had Shakespeare in mind. But,
Yeah.
it could be going
Yeah.
out on the limb there.
I just want to know what kind of job you get when you graduate magna cum laude in Taylor Swift. And please don't go anywhere else with what I just
Swiftie
said.
degrees
Don't do it.
abound.
Just don't do it.
Is it
DG
online? Can I take it online? That's what
DG
I'm
says
wondering.
sounds like a lot of bullshit to me. So okay.
Hey, it's all about the bucks.
That is the
You know
education system these days, but that's a different show. All right, my headline. Hot dogs and cats get wearable fans to beat Japan's scorching summer. And I just could not help myself. I could not help myself. And I just had to grab that picture of a cat wearing a fan. What has this world come to? And of course it would be Japan. Of course.
That is a cute cat. It kind of looks like Meredith, Taylor Swift's cat, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe maybe they've got a course on cat fans. All right. That's a short one. So once again, hot dogs and cats. Cats get wearable fans.
Wow.
To beat Japan's.
They're really outdoing us, aren't they?
They are definitely cool cats over there.
Cool cats.
All right, Steve.
Dogs and cool cats.
Headlines that mean something for Steve. This is one that was actually right up my alley. I enjoyed reading this.
You like this.
I'm going to let Steve read it. Go for it.
Yeah. Snake bite victim's brother visits village for the funeral and gets killed by another snake. The irony behind it all. Yeah, I guess this province, actually looked it up where it was in India. It's like way up there. It's up there, right up against the Himalayas. But, this guy comes, he's like, going to the wake. He's like, okay, and the guy actually got, the first guy got bit sleeping. And so he basically died in his sleep. And they didn't know it until they were like, oh, yeah, look, his foot was 4 times his size.
Oh, that's how they figured it out.
And this guy, the next day, he goes to sleep. Same thing happens to him. Same exact thing. The article was a little off because it said that he was in intensive care, but the headline said he died. So I'm assuming that at a later time.
He must have. Yeah. Snakebite victim's brother visits village for funeral, gets killed by another snake.
Oh man!
All right, headlines that mean something. That was fantastic. Next part of the show, we are actually winding. Well, we're about halfway through the top 7 at 7. Our top 7 favorite foods, and we had to be kind of specific. And last week we were at what 7 and 6.
7 and 6.
Today's 5 and 4.
5 and 4.
And here, this is great. I got to get this comment in, guys. Tim Pomato says, I guess you can call that snake eyes.
Yeah. Or snake bait. Yeah. You got it.
Yeah. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. All right. So this week on the top 7 and 7, number 5 and number 4 favorite foods of all time, we're going to start with Mark. And that would be Mark.
Swedish meatballs. Swedish meatballs.
What you sent me was sweet and sour meatballs.
Oh, you're right, actually. Sweet and sour meatballs.
Thank you. I know you better than you.
Meatballs.
They're meatballs.
You could have just said meatballs.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, is there nothing better than when you're at the wedding and they're walking around with the sweet and sour meatballs and you put the little toothpick in and you pop it in your mouth and you're like, ooh, I could eat a lot of these.
When Mark sees toothpicks, he gets excited.
Well, they're not sloppy. You're not like having the dish. You can just like get the little toothpick. And that's a nice little appetizer.
I'm an hors d'oeuvre guy.
I wouldn't put it on my list of favorite foods. I do like them. The problem is I like them too much. And it starts that conveyor belt. Toothpick mouth, toothpick mouth, toothpick mouth.
Yeah. Good choice. I like it.
Anywhere we go where there's meatballs and we walk in with my wife gives me that look like,
how many are you getting?
Right.
There's meatballs.
Right. Yeah. They're always embarrassed of how much we're going to eat during the hors d'oeuvre.
They're embarrassed.
Anybody, like years, like people are saying, like 5 years later, like, do you remember when Mark Schwab had all those meatballs during the hors d'oeuvres?
You never know.
Cindy's wedding.
Those are the kinds of things people don't say to you. Like, here comes hors d'oeuvre king,
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Number 5 for me is something that I find a little bit more sophisticated than Swedish meatballs.
Sweet and sour
meatballs. And a little less sweet and sour meatballs. A little less sophisticated at the same time. Hard shell crabs.
Oh, no surprise here.
Hard shell crabs, baby. I grew up on
it's just
crabs.
Too much work.
I was going to say, I grew up on crabs. I had crabs. I lived crabs. I owned crabs. I love crabs.
Yeah, when I think of crabs,
appropriate. I think
when you guys think of crabs, you think of me. Yes, hard shell crabs. Old Bay and salt. Steam those babies up. Throw them down. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Listen to me. If you like hard shell crabs and you've eaten them, and you consider yourself to be a professional,
a crabsman.
Yes, a crabsman, a professional.
A professional crabs.
Yes, I'll never get this out. But you use the hammer, you are not a professional.
Ooh.
I use absolutely no utensils when I shell my hard shell crabs.
That's hardcore there.
Are you like squeezing that? You squeezing that wrist thing all day?
Yeah.
You squeezing a wrist thing at your desk all day?
Yeah, all
Gotta
day
get ready
long,
for the crab.
I use my teeth. I use my tongue. I use anything. Maryland crab cakes. Yeah, I love Maryland crab cakes, but hard shell crabs, number 5 on my list.
I'm a big fan of crabs, but I don't know about the hard shell. They're just a little bit more work than
I'm a big lover
I'm
of crab cakes. I like it done for me.
Yeah, right. That's right. That's right. Okay. Top 7 favorite foods. Number 5 on Steve's list. I love this.
Come on, guys. You gotta go
The
for
Chicago
the Chicago
dog.
Hot dog. Yeah.
The Chicago
I mean,
dog.
you want to say hot dog, but you got to get specific. You just can't say hot dog,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
Because everybody likes hot dogs. But this one is a specific type of hot dog. And Portillo's, the best place you can get them in the world. But Dee's Cafe, if you're in the Pittsburgh area, makes a mean Chicago dog. Second best. It's a distant second, but still very good. What's not to like?
Yeah.
This what do you got? The sport peppers, the small little peppers, the celery salt.
In
putting that up there
Chicago,
now.
I liked a place called the Wiener Circle.
The Wiener Circle.
Oh God, I don't even want to think about
And
the Wiener Circle.
also, now I
You don't
believe
get a Chicago dog at the Wiener
I believe
Circle.
this place may have gone out of business, but a Pittsburgh place called Franctuary. You ever eat there?
Yeah,
Sanctuary
it
is
did
no
go
longer
under.
in
Yeah,
business.
in
no
Lawrenceville,
longer.
yeah.
But I
They
really
moved.
loved it.
They moved.
There's
did they
still
move?
a Sanctuary
Okay.
around,
Yeah.
but it's just not in Lawrenceville.
Do you remember it used to be like in the basement of a church in the middle of the
when it first
The city,
opened up?
yeah,
Then
yeah.
they moved to Lawrenceville. Then they moved to some other smaller.
yeah, they do.
But
I enjoy their stuff too.
But that's just a hot dog. When you're going
Right.
to get the Chicago
Yeah.
dog, got to get it in Chicago.
Yeah, and when you sent this to me, I almost put up Chicago hot dog, and then I thought, nah, it's Chicago dog.
No, it's
He would
Chicago.
complain if I put Chicago hot
I
dog.
would.
Absolutely. Okay, moving on. Top 7 at 7. Favorite foods of all time for Mark. Mark gets super specific.
Super
Hey,
specific
go
here.
for it.
What are we looking at there, Mark? Because to me, it looks like something from
Beef
Food and Wine.
We are looking at a pancetta
Ooh.
with brisket. Oh, I'm sorry, pappardelle with brisket ragu.
Wow.
This is something that I used to get at Lydia's when Lydia's was still
yeah,
around.
yeah, Lydia's,
Lydia's.
right.
And it's phenomenal, man. Just give me that wonderful, that brisket that just comes apart, and you put that, that thick noodle around it, and I could eat it for days.
I don't have much to say on that one.
I mean, brisket is excellent.
Yeah,
That sounds-
brisket is
that-
great.
It's making
Yeah.
me hungry,
Yeah.
actually. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. All right. Number
Looks
4, pappardelle with brisket. That's not how you say that. With brisket ragu. Number 4 for Chris is staying the same theme here. Sushi
Oh, yeah.
and sashimi, though,
Ooh,
boys.
both.
And sashimi.
Got to get them both, huh?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm a raw fish kind of guy. Please, no comments from the peanut gallery on that one. But I find I just sushi, I can eat tons of it and I never get full.
I know. Sometimes I see you go out to your koi pond and just grab one and suck it down.
That's exactly right.
Bite the head
Exactly
right off
right.
of it. He's out there with his little
Yeah.
knife.
Just a raw fish.
I've been known to have been chased out of pet stores. It's happened. It's happened. Number 4 for me is sushi.
Well, sushi was 6 on mine.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with that.
Yeah. Number 4 for Steve, winding out this week's portion of the list. I love this theme we got going here with Steve here.
Come
what does
on,
that look
let's
like?
go.
Oh,
Yeah.
the cheesesteak.
I went with Pat's because it's the traditional one that I grew up with.
Mhm.
Well, I didn't really grow up with it. I didn't really have it until I was in college. But the cheesesteak is a great sandwich. It's probably the greatest sandwich.
It probably is.
Because
Yeah.
everybody loves steak,
Right.
and you got cheese whiz, and you got onions. And you can put other stuff on it. I just prefer the traditional cheese whiz and onions, whiz with,
Yep.
as we like to say.
Yes.
And the bun does make a difference.
It does.
And I can't wait to try some of the other Philly cheesesteaks that are even better than
Yes,
that.
that have climbed the charts.
Yes. So number 4 for Steve, Pat's cheesesteak. So next week we will do 3 Should we do 3, 2, and
3,
then
2,
have
and
a
1.
big one? We'll do 3, 2, and
Yeah,
1
we'll do
next
3,
week.
2, the big reveal. Let's
Yep.
get it done.
Yeah, because
3, 2,
the
1.
NFL doesn't start
Yeah,
until
yeah.
right, and we get all that.
Absolutely.
All right, last portion of the show tonight. We call this What We're Watching, and it's really that simple. It's what we're streaming online. We're going to start with Mark this week. Mark is streaming
Ted Lasso.
Oh, yeah.
Did you enjoy this?
Loved it. Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
show. Great
Yeah.
show.
I didn't
Good
like it.
family fun.
Chris struggled
on.
with it a little bit. He sort of has this image of Jason Sudeikis, which I don't understand. He's an actor, which means he can play different roles.
No, let me clarify. I like Jason Sudeikis, but I like the depraved humor with Jason Sudeikis. I didn't like the good, wholesome yuckity yuck
It
stuff.
definitely is.
Yeah.
By the way, I have one more episode left of season 2, and then I'm caught up. And I'm caught up. But I have to say, kind of a weird thing. I don't know if you remember this, Steve, but season 2, episode 9, really weird. Out of nowhere, Coach Beard.
Oh yeah,
and his, basically falling into the abyss.
Yeah.
That kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way too?
A little
what's
bit.
going on here?
Well, and then his assistant,
Right.
the other guy,
Right.
gets his head gets a little big.
Yes.
And when you see the season finale, you're in for a shock.
Am I?
Yes.
Oh, whoa.
It really sets up
okay.
a whole new
Woo!
season.
All right,
Fun.
tonight,
Moving
Amy,
on.
fired up.
Fired
Moving
up.
on.
Get it going.
My show that I'm watching right now just started on Apple TV Plus. It's called Surface. It's about a woman who attempts to take her own life, falling off a boat, jumping off a boat. She survives with memory loss, and now she's trying to piece her life back together, and she can't figure out why, because she has a perfect life, and she can't figure out why. And there's a lot of twists and turns, and I think pretty much everything on Apple TV Plus is worth watching. But it's a great show, so check it out.
Suffice on Apple TV Plus.
There we go again with my.
Suffice.
It's actually
On
that's
Apple
the
TV
spelling
Plus.
right there.
I think
Okay.
we can read them.
That's the
Right.
French version. Suffice,
Yes.
suface. So that's the Italian version.
Oh,
Suface.
Savate.
Steve's what we're watching is something that kind of makes me want to pick up the pre-show to this Game of Thrones because this looks very, very tempting and very entertaining.
Actually, you wouldn't have to necessarily watch Game of Thrones because
Right.
this is set before that.
Oh, so maybe I watch this.
Yeah.
And watch Game of
So
Thrones.
if you did want to pick up House of the Dragon, because you didn't watch Game of Thrones, then you could roll in to see how the Targaryens ended up where they did in House.
I love how you say Targaryens as if they exist.
Yes.
They are.
You know what though? I'm not a fan of the show, but I would caution that. You once told me to watch Narcos Mexico before Narcos because it's before Narcos. I thought that was a really terrible suggestion. Because the beginning of Narcos Mexico, while it got great, it was just like, I don't know, I didn't get it at all. And then we went to Narcos and we're like, oh, this is amazing. Sometimes you just got to go with what's amazing to get you into it before you go back.
Sometimes you're right, this one is starting out. So it started out with a classic Game of Thrones scene where there's just blood and it's like it's a birth scene, and I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you.
And they're just incredible. The way they do these things, they're just incredible.
It's an incredible birth scene.
And they have 2 episodes out now. The second episode is setting up this huge battle that's about to happen, both internally and externally with other lands. It's going to be epic, I can just tell. But the story is about the Targaryens. And the Targaryens in Game of Thrones are kind of just one small little house. In fact, it's really just this one woman, Dany. But she plays a major role in Game of Thrones towards the end. But she at the time of a Game of Thrones, she is just like one person. Like, this is a whole house of them. So you get to see how they take this whole house, and they were in charge of what's called King's Landing, which is the big realm where all the other people rule, and they basically lose everything. And they have a bunch of, and it's called House of Dragons because right now they have 50 dragons, and this is not spoiling it for anybody. At the end, they end up with no dragons.
Oh, that's a big dragon loss.
I feel like you did spoil it for me.
No, it's known. It's known.
That's a huge dragon
It's
loss.
That's it's
known. By the way, these are books, so if you already read the books, then you already know everything that's going to happen.
I got to be honest. I tried Game of Thrones and I couldn't get into it. I watched like 4 or 5 episodes. I found it to be too confusing. Like I couldn't figure out who was who, and it's like one of those. It was one of those things where like if you don't watch it like every single night, it's like you're gonna like forget who's who.
I'm actually watching this live. So,
are you?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, but you're so immersed in it now, you get it all.
Yeah, the Targaryens and the dragons.
Yeah, I mean,
well, there's no Lannisters, and they're not even part of the mix.
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
The only thing I like is about Game of Thrones is I think it's a cool line when that snow guy goes, "Winter is coming," something like that. Right?
Yeah, winter is coming.
Yeah, I think that's cool. Other than that, I'm out.
All right, guys. Anything left before we move on to next week?
I don't think so.
Next week, get ready for those Steeler predictions.
That's right. Get ready for the Steeler predictions. We have our internal fantasy draft the day before our show. Next week is Labor Day, and we do plan on having a show on Labor Day. Look for another column to come out this week. I'll put our predictions out. If maybe you guys should email them to me or something.
Yeah.
And please be sure to bookmark theporcheslive.com. Subscribe to theporcheslive.com with your email to get updates. Leave us a message. And I just can't tell you guys how much we appreciate you listening to us. If you do, on American Busker, iHeartRadio, and catch our podcast on iHeart or Spotify or anywhere you listen to your podcast. Now, we'll see you guys next week. Take it easy.
Bang.